This is the Cholo News Report for Sunday 18 March 2018. Voters in Russia cast their votes for the President of Russia. Opinion polling predicts incumbent Vladimir Putin is highly likely to win a fourth term in office, with over 60 of the popular choice, and no other candidates above 10. Polls first opened in the Far East, and 109 million voters are eligible to cast ballots, across the 11 time zones of the world's biggest country. A wave of anti-government protests in the past year also suggests growing fatigue with corruption scandals seeping through the Kremlin and Putin's inner circle of oligarchs. Polls in the past have also shown that Putin's popularity rises during times of confrontation with the West, so Russians appear to be shrugging off the current diplomatic crisis. A Piper PA-23 passenger aircraft bound for Lauk International Airport in Ilocos Norte, Philippines, crashes upon takeoff from Claridel Airport in Bulacan, killing 5 people on board and 5 on the ground. Also, killed were 5 members of the family who owned the house where the plane crash landed, police said in a final report on the incident, adding that all the bodies had been recovered. There was some confusion on the number of people on board the plane, after the police first reported that there were 6 passengers, as they initially included the copilot, Efren L. Pachaculan. Bulacan Risk Reduction and Management Office Chief Liz Munkle said in an interview on SM, that while the plane manifesto listed 6 people, a CAOP representative informed local officials that the copilot did not board the plane. In response to the UK's decision to expel 23 Russian diplomats, following the poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal, Russia expels 23 British diplomats, closes the British Council in Russia and closes the Consulate General of the United Kingdom in St. Petersburg. He added that the continued presence of officers in the area wearing specialist protective clothing was a precaution, and that the risk to the public was low. Nick Bailey, who was part of the initial response to the incident, remains in a serious but stable condition in hospital after being exposed to the chemical. Meanwhile, the double tactic of denial and distraction here continues, both in comments by officials, and in the mocking, dismissive coverage of the Skripal case on state-run media. Australian voters in South Australia, the Melbourne division of Batman, and the Perth electoral district of Cottesloe go to the polls in 3 separate elections. That, of course, was written long before Nick Xenophon decided to resign from the Senate in order to contest the state seat of Hartley in the SA House of Assembly. In the outgoing lower house, Labour held 24 seats: Ashford, Cheltenham, Colton, Croydon, Elder, Enfield, Fisher, Florey, Giles, Connor, Lee, Light, Little Para, Mawson, Napier, Newland, Playford, Port Adelaide, Ramsay, Raynal, Taylor, Torrens, West Torrens and Wright. The Liberal Party held 21 seats: Adelaide, Bragg, Bright, Chaffee, Davenport, Dunstan, Finnis, Flinders, Boyder, Hammond, Hartley, Hazen, Cavell, MacKillop, Mitchell, Morialta, Morfett, Mount Gambier, Schubert, Stewart and Unley. The SA Liberals win a majority of seats in South Australia's lower house, ending 16 years of Labour Party government in the state. Thank you to the Guardian Australia team for helping drag me across the line tonight, and for you for reading and playing along with my feverish blogging. Tonight in this venue we celebrate a victory for Labour, but beyond this room into the lounge rooms of Batman more broadly in Australia, I promise that we do not treat this election campaign as a triumph and an end in itself, but as another step in the way to giving Australians the sort of government they want with the policies that make a difference to everyday Australians. Kearney is the first woman elected to the seat of Batman in its 110-year history, and brings the proportion of women in the federal Labour caucus to 48. Ged Kearney retains Batman for the Australian Labour Party, despite earlier predictions that the Australian Greens would win.